Elimination Chamber 2020. So, that men's match to determine the number one contender for the Universal Championship is going to be so exciting. I can't wait. Oh, wait, there isn't going to be one, is there? What a travesty. What a travesty. A really weird build to a really weird pay-per-view. It's almost like this is inconsequential, like it's a throwaway pay-per-view. And I know Elimination Chamber has always been, or for a very long time, has been the stopgap to WrestleMania anyway. But it's never felt like there's less at stake here. There are no number one contendership matches. There's no even like world championship matches. Neither Brock Lesnar or Goldberg are defending the titles here, and it's kind of obvious that they wouldn't be. But there's just no like investment here to care. It's a shame, and I'll come in a bit negative on this video. I'm going to try and bring it back round. I'm going to try and get some positives out of it because, you know, there's got to be some good here somewhere. I have filmed plenty of videos pissing and whining and ranting about how I don't like the build from Smackdown for WrestleMania this year, how the story should have been Fiend and Cena for the title. So Fiend beats Goldberg at Super Showdown, Cena wins the Elimination Chamber, then it's Cena and Fiend for the title at Mania. Meanwhile, you can have your marquee match with Goldberg and Reigns because they don't need the championship. Instead, what we've frustratingly got is Goldberg and Reigns for the championship because Reigns has to leave WrestleMania with the championship again, which I actually think will be quite damaging to Roman Reigns. I think he could have done with another 18 months of being built up again before they start doing the whole shoving him down your throats again. Sure, he's probably going to get cheered against Goldberg, but most people do. So, you know, I think that match doesn't need the title. That match, Goldberg and Reigns, is a box office attraction anyway. But they were so hell-bent on force-feeding and force-ramming Roman Reigns down our throats as champion. Coronation, the big Roman Reigns coronation at WrestleMania, stands there with the title, fireworks going off. We've seen it before. Didn't like it then, don't like it now. That being said, nothing against Joe and Hawaii as a wrestler. I actually think Roman Reigns is a good wrestler. I think he's a very good wrestler. I just don't like the way the character is forced down our throats in the way it's presented. I don't mind Roman Reigns being the champion. I just don't think now is the right time to pull the trigger on that again and go down that route, that very clinical route again. I think the other match, the Cena Fiend match, needed it more. Fine. It was what it was. We've got what we've got. Let's not piss and moan. Let's just enjoy it, I said, going into SmackDown after Super Showdown. So the story that I've been watching wrestling religiously. I've just noticed the side of my head is bleeding. That's nice to have on camera. Blade job. Yeah, that's well distracting. But yeah, I've been watching wrestling religiously since like the very early 90s. I love watching back old wrestling. You know, I consider myself somewhat of a wrestling history nerd. My favorite decade in wrestling is 1975 to 85. I love all the stuff from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. I love wrestling. So I like to think I'm a pretty smart fan. You know, I'm a bit of a smark. I like to think I'm a little bit wiser than the casual fan, considering all I watch is wrestling. All I do is wrestling. It's my life. So I could have bet my life on tuning in to SmackDown. I thought we'd get the segment with Goldberg and Reigns. And then I thought after the Who's Next, I'm Next segment, Reigns would then enter himself into the men's elimination chamber. I thought Cena would come back, say that he wants to beat Ric Flair's record for 17 world titles, or his make-believe record, and then enter himself into the elimination chamber with, I think, maybe Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Roode, Strowman, Daniel Bryan, a couple of others. Sheamus, I think, had already entered into the elimination chamber. Sheamus entered himself in a couple of weeks ago, so I'm not meant to remember that now. That's meant to have been forgotten. At the chamber, what I'm meant to be talking about now, I assumed what we would have is Cena has everyone completely destroyed. Cena's winning. He's on fire. The Fiend breaks through the flooring in the chamber, chokes out Cena with the mandible claw, and then that allows someone like Bobby Roode to pin Cena when the lights go back off again or something because Cena's unconscious. And then into the whole chamber, so Cena's out of it, screwed over by the Fiend. That then goes into their storyline of sparking up and igniting the feud between Cena and The Fiend. And that's when you bring in the whole WrestleMania 30 loss and, you know, breaking Ric Flair's record and all of this stuff going on. But you won't have to mention the Ric Flair's record, actually, because the title was on Goldberg, so scrap that. But you tell the story that the Fiend screws over Cena in the chamber. Cena now wants the Fiend. Fiend wants Cena to get the revenge on the loss from before. Ultimate story of good versus evil. It writes itself. It was so obvious, and now they want to fight each other for a reason. Instead, we got a throwaway segment on Smackdown where they pointed the sign and tipped the hat. It didn't mean anything, and they're fighting for no reason, despite the very good promo from Bray Wyatt on Smackdown this week. Of course, in what I thought was going to happen as well, what I could have bet money on, is that we'd be talking about the men's Elimination Chamber on this video. And of course, Roman Reigns was going to win after Cena's been screwed over by the Fiend. Roman Reigns picks up the victory. He goes on to fight Goldberg at WrestleMania. Instead, he's fighting Goldberg at WrestleMania just because, no reason. So I don't know why he's fighting Goldberg at WrestleMania. They haven't explained it. Didn't win any matches. There's no rivalry. So instead of them telling the story in the Elimination Chamber like they always do and just having a reason behind things, you could have told the story of the top 2 matches on SmackDown in the Elimination Chamber. Cena gets screwed over by the Fiend. He wants to fight the Fiend. Fiend wants to fight Cena to get revenge. That's all taken care of at Elimination Chamber. It started Elimination Chamber. Meanwhile, Roman Reigns wins the Chamber. He goes on to fight Goldberg. We're getting both the matches at Mania just for no reason, and it feels flat and it feels pants, and it just feels like I'm not watching this pay-per-view at the weekend for no reason now. Got that off my chest because I can't stop thinking about how annoyed I am about Elimination Chamber. So let's have a look at the card. We've got Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak. Okay, I'm really interested in this. Huge fan of both wrestlers. Really, really, really technically sound. Both, long-term veterans. If you follow back through Shakira, Ring of Honor, so on and so forth, through the Indies. These guys are very capable of a top-quality wrestling match. There is no reason why this couldn't be the WWE main roster match of the year so far. It's not going to be, but it could easily be. If you let these guys put on a 25-minute classic, an absolute clinic, they could tell a wonderful story. They probably won't do that. This may be a comedy match or a throwaway match. I really hope it's... I really hope they let them go full blast and really get Drew Gulak over, because he's such a good wrestler. You know, he's up there with the likes of Daniel Bryan and people like that in terms of in-ring ability. They just really not let him display that very well. He did get a little bit of a shine in NXT where they let him sort of display some of what he can do. I think where we're going with Bryan for WrestleMania is the story here. I don't really know. So I'm going to have to go with Daniel Bryan just because at this stage they've not built Gulak up to be a believable contender for Daniel Bryan. That being said, if you're going to continue the story on to WrestleMania and have some plan for Bryan at Mania, it would probably make sense for Daniel Bryan to lose this match in order to continue the story, but I don't know where they're going with it. We've got a United States Championship match. Andrade defends against Alberto Carrillo. Okay, so I don't like the idea of taking a championship off of somebody this close to Mania. I think if you're going to do the championship change, it needs to be at WrestleMania at this point to make it feel special, because if we've had a title change now, it's not going to feel special in 3 or 4 weeks' time. That being said, Alberto Carrillo has had so many championship opportunities recently. If he loses this one, they cannot justify him having another one at WrestleMania. So if he loses this one, this will probably be the last United States Championship opportunity he should get for a good 3-4 months. And I don't know what else they're going to do with him at Mania, unless there's going to be a ladder match, maybe. I'd like to think Andrade retains, because I'm really high on him. I have been since his days as La Sombra. I think he is a top-level main event caliber wrestler that you can help build a promotion round. I don't think he doesn't speak English. He's not a great promo. Zelina Vega does speak English, and she's one of the best promos. In fact, I absolutely love Zelina Vega. I think she should be getting double the amount of screen time, if not triple the amount of screen time she is. I think she should be a regular wrestler on the roster, because she's a superb wrestler. Been a huge fan of Thea Trinidad since like 2004, whenever it was she was in, first in TNA, 2005, whenever it was. I don't want them to take the title off of Andrade. I don't think Alberto Carrillo is ready for that, to be in that conversation yet. What I would say is Maybe we're going to get a multi-man match at Mania with Mysterio, Angel Garza, Carrillo and Andrade, all these sort of Latino luchador style wrestlers. Maybe a multi-man tag match or a ladder match for the United States title. I don't know, but like I said, if Humberto doesn't win this one, you can't justify him being in the title United States title match at Mania. But it is what it is. I would like to see Andrade retain. But they have really good matches, these guys. In the last few pay-per-views, they've been having fantastic matches. We've got Alistair Black versus AJ Styles in a no disqualification match. All right, okay. I said I was down on this pay-per-view. This is a dream match for me. The match we got on Raw, wasn't quite what we would have hoped for. I have wanted to see this match for years and years and years. I'm really, really looking forward to the prospect of it. But what I want is the match that I know they can have, not the one I think they're going to have. So again, like the Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak match, there is no reason why this can't be the main roster match of the year so far. Let them go 25 minutes, let them do what we know they can do, and they can have a 6-star match, in my opinion. And a match, a classic, one we'll be talking about in 10 years' time, a match we'll be talking about in 20 years' time. They can have one of those Steamboat Flair matches, in my opinion, these two best wrestlers in WWE. That's the match they should have. It's not the match they're going to have. This match will involve the OC, the club, Bullet Club, whatever you want to call them, the Good Brothers, interfering, and they're going to beat down AJ Styles. It's going to be 3-on-1, and the Undertaker's going to come out to make the save. He either screws AJ Styles out of the victory, causing Alistair Black to get the win, or alternatively, after the match, Styles gets the victory and Undertaker shows up after. But I don't think you want Alistair Black to lose twice in a row, because he's actually been undefeated for like nearly a year. I think possibly over a year. So he's only had one loss in like over a year, and that was to AJ Styles on Raw this week. So I don't think he should have another loss so quickly. Really, really protect Alistair Black, in my opinion. I think he's the future, should be the future face of the company. I don't think he will be, but I think he should be bigger than CM Punk. He could be the next one you see on all the posters, the one you see on all the adverts. To me, I would be marketing him as the top wrestler in the company. Personally, if it was me. Casey Cartel, I'm a bit of a goth. I've got my black metal t-shirt on. I'm a complete, that's the kind of character that speaks out to me. That's the kind of character that I relate to. So absolutely want to see this match be what I know it can be. I hope they're not building to a, look at my head bleeding, it's great, isn't it? A tag match at WrestleMania. I really want to see the OC versus Alistair Black and Undertaker. Definitely need to see that match. Do not want to see it at WrestleMania. WrestleMania, categorically, has to be a singles match between AJ Styles and Undertaker, with smoke and mirrors to accentuate Undertaker's strengths and hide his weaknesses. Lots of bumping, lots of selling from AJ. Do the tag match maybe at SummerSlam, and then that's when you build to the singles match between Alistair Black and Undertaker, which if they don't do, will probably be the biggest missed opportunity they've ever done. In my opinion, worse than when they dropped the ball with the Invasion, worse when WCW dropped the ball with Bret Hart. Not doing Undertaker and Alistair Black, to me personally, is the biggest missed opportunity they would ever do. That's just me, from my perspective, as being a big fan of both. I appreciate that might not be everybody's cup of tea, but what I want from this is for them to set the seed for a future match between Undertaker and Alistair Black. I don't think we're going to get that just yet, but in my opinion, Alistair Black wins due to interference from the Undertaker. Just saying those two names in the same sentence has already got me excited about the prospect of a future match. What I want to see them do, I want at Survivor Series this year, which is Undertaker's 30th anniversary with WWE, I want him to announce that he's going to retire at WrestleMania 37 next year, and I want his final opponent to be Alistair Black. You should lose your last match, put someone over. So if he's losing his last match at WrestleMania next year, that means I think he's probably going to beat AJ Styles this year. But that doesn't make sense because WWE like 50-50 booking, and he beat AJ Styles at Super Showdown. So do you have Undertaker lose 2 WrestleManias in a row? That's all I'm going to say. It's a weird one. I like to think they'd do the honourable thing and the right thing and have AJ Styles beat The Undertaker. That's what they should do. But then do you have him lose 2 WrestleManias in a row? What you could do, have him lose to AJ Styles in a singles match at WrestleMania, and then at the next pay-per-view, Backlash, Saudi Arabia, No Mercy, whatever it is, you have Alistair Black and The Undertaker defeat the OC in a handicap match. And then Undertaker gets the one-up on AJ Styles in the feud. That way, that way going into his big loss the next year, maybe, it doesn't look so bad because he's got a couple of victories under his belt. I don't know. That's the way I would justify it in my head, and that's what I would personally like to see. Again, like I said, not everyone's cup of tea. I don't appreciate that. We've got the Street Profits defending the Raw Tag Team titles against Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy, or just Murphy as he's called now. Love the match they had on Raw. Love the match they have on Super Showdown. The one at Super Showdown was great, by the way. Yeah, really, really like all four of these guys. It's going to be another work rate match. And the more I'm looking at this card, the more I'm thinking, like, it's a throwaway card with like not a lot going on. But actually, the matches could be some real like barn burners on here. Actually, I think that Montez Ford and Buddy Murphy getting some time together in the ring would be really cool because they're two fantastic up and comers. And I love how Montez Ford got a pinfall victory over Seth Rollins on Raw recently. Maybe let's play into that a little bit because I think Montez Ford could be a huge future star. He's the total package. He's got everything you could ever want a wrestler to be and more. He's got bags of it. So let's drop the seeds. Montez Ford getting to work over Seth and getting to work over Buddy Murphy because I want to see him positioned as a big star. I see Seth Rollins and Murphy about to get the victory, but then out comes Kevin Owens and screws them out of the victory again, screws them out of the championships. The only problem with that is you don't want Street Profits to have won twice in a row by fluky means, but it is what it is. I think it's a necessary sacrifice to further the feud between Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, which I think they're probably going to have a singles match at WrestleMania, I would imagine. I don't know if Samoa Joe's going to be back from his suspension by then, so I don't know what's going on with him. We've got a handicap match, 3-on-1, Braun Strowman against Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro, and Sami Zayn. Okay, Nakamura, Cesaro, and Zayn, they should all be in the least, the main event wrestlers should be at least big single stars. They should be having competitive matches with Braun Strowman, maybe not so much Sami Zayn because of the size difference, but that's silly. That's that's not necessarily true. Chris Benoit had matches with the Big Show, and no one thought, Chris Benoit's never going to beat the Big Show. So a little guy can beat the big guy. It's just look at CM Punk and Lesnar. That was a believable fight when they got going. So I think to have all three of them against Strowman really devalues the stock of the three heels. Nakamura to me should be in your main event. He should be your Intercontinental Champion at least. I'd like to see him in the main events. Maybe a couple of runs with the world title. To me, he's at the upper level. Cesaro, again, similar story. If you don't necessarily, he could be world champion, but you don't have to have him as a world champion. That's fine. Keep him in the mid card. Just have him at the top. Have him never lose. Have him look like a machine. Sami Zayn, let him go out and do what he's good at. Be an absolutely quality wrestler. Instead, they're just made to feel like Kai and Tai or some like throwaway tag team that's just going to get squashed, and that's not what these guys are. So I want Shinsuke Nakamura to win because I think they should be protecting him. But just looking at the card, to me, Braun Strowman's got to win. What, are they going to have all three men with the Intercontinental title? That would be stupid, but WWE is really stupid, so I wouldn't put it past them. But yeah, Braun Strowman, I guess. I'm really not into this feud because I wanted all of these guys to be in the men's Elimination Chamber, which is the selling point, the whole USP of the entire pay-per-view, the reason why this pay-per-view exists. Oh wait, we're not getting that match now. Don't get me started, I'm so annoyed. But yeah, throwaway match, no one cares, stupid feud. Everyone in this is damaging to the stock of everybody involved. All four of these men deserve much better than this feud. I just wish the only redeeming feature is that the Intercontinental Championship is at least involved. At least, you know, there's a prize. At least there's a reason and a championship and a goal for them to be fighting over. We've got the women's match. Natalya, Liv Morgan, Shayna Baszler, Asuka, Ruby Riott, and Sarah Logan. Again, love all these women. Really, really cool to see them in a big elimination chamber. You know, in a big pay-per-view spot. It's really cool to see. You know, how you compare 5-6 years ago how the women were being used. It was a lock and it was a set that Shayna Baszler was winning this because of the feud with Becky Lynch. There have been reports that Vince McMahon has soured on her and he no longer wants her to win and he no longer wants her in the main event of WrestleMania. I think they're just trying to throw people off a little bit with that, even though I think it is true. I think let's not hold too much stock in that at the minute. They don't like advertising matches, which aren't going to happen, and they spent a lot of time advertising and planting the seeds for Baszler and Lynch. So I would be very surprised, and I'd be really disappointed if Baszler doesn't win, because that's the only thing that they've made us give a damn about this whole pay-per-view. The only reason you should give a shit about this pay-per-view is to see Shayna Baszler win so she can get the Becky Lynch match, which is the story they've been telling. So if we don't get that, like, what have they been doing? Why should we care? What have they been doing for the past 3 or 4 weeks? Sometimes wrestling is at its best when you don't know who's going to win because it's a surprise. Other times a swerve can actually be really detrimental to the story and quite insulting to the fans' intelligence. And sometimes when you know the result of what you're going to get, it doesn't matter. You're there to see the story. I'll watch, a film. I know what's going to happen when I watch the film, but I love watching the story unfold. I go see a horror film with Michael Myers in it. I know damn well what's going to happen. Generally speaking, give or take a couple of scenes, I can pretty much think, he's going to have a knife, he's going to stab people, blah, 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 and I can tell you what's going to happen. But I watch the film because I want to see the story unfold that I know I'm going to get. I want to see that story that I know I'm going to get. And that's the story with this. It doesn't have to be a surprise, it doesn't have to be a swerve. The story I want to get is Shayna Baszler wins this match in convincing fashion and goes on to fight Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. That's the story I want to get. That's the story that they've led us to believe we're going to get. It's almost false advertising if we don't get it at this point. I really like how Liv Morgan's come out of her show recently. Ruby Riott is a top caliber female wrestler. I hope she gets a massive push this year, but now's not the time because she's back off of injury. So yeah, Shayna Baszler for me here. And the tag team match, which they haven't done a very good job of making us care about, but at the same time, the gauntlet match on Smackdown was fun this week, featuring them all. So we're going to get The Miz and John Morrison defending the Smackdown tag titles against the New Day, the Usos, Heavy Machinery, Lucha House Party, and Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, who are going to be the last to enter the chamber because they won the aforementioned gauntlet match. Okay, so obviously I think the story between Otis, Dozovic, and Dolph Ziggler is going to be continued and furthered. I hope they get a singles match at WrestleMania. I think you could do a tag match. You could get away with the tag match, but I think the story would be more fun with the singles. We'll see. I don't really mind, to be honest, but it's a fun story on SmackDown. It's probably the best thing SmackDown's got going at the minute, outside of The Fiend and Cena. Yeah, so again, this will be, like it should be with Elimination Chamber, bit of a spot fest, a little bit of oh my god, roller derby, someone's going to be thrown into the steel, someone's going to jump off a pod, someone's going to go through a pod, someone's going to bounce over the ropes and land onto the mesh on the outside, blah, 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 blah. Look at all these guys. You've got Lindsay Dorado in the match. You've got Gran Metalik inside the chamber. What can he do in there? You climb up the steel. There's lots of potential, a formula for some really exciting, high-octane wrestling in this match. And I really can't wait. Even though they've not made us that invested, other than too little too late on the last episode of SmackDown, to quote The Undertaker. Let's see what it is. I'm going to go in with low expectations because they've not made me care. Sometimes those are the best paid views when they blow you out the water and you're like, oh shit man, actually that was really a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to that. In terms of I'm looking forward to seeing how they can surprise me, because on paper this is actually a solid card and I hadn't realised that until I sat down just now to look at it. Kingston in the chamber, the Usos, John Morrison in the Elimination Chamber with Lindsay Dorado, Robert Roode, who's one of the best wrestlers in the world in my opinion. I think he's disgustingly underrated. Ziggler can still go, so you've got all this going on. Let's see where they go with it. I would quite like to see the Edge and Randy Orton storyline furthered. I know Edge isn't going to be back until Raw this week, which means maybe you can have Orton come out, cut a promo, maybe attack Christian. Christian could come out and then stand up for Edge, and he gets an RKO for his troubles. Something like that would be fun, just to see that good storyline progressed. You could have a backstage promo with, or maybe an on-screen promo with Drew McIntyre, maybe something with Drew McIntyre just to keep the plate spinning. Who knows? But it looks on paper actually like a decent little card, and I wasn't that looking forward to it until I've just sat down to do this video, and now I'm a little bit more excited. I'm a little bit more into the prospect of Elimination Chamber, even though there's no Elimination Chamber to work out who's going to be the number one contender at WrestleMania for the Universal title, which was the point of the pay-per-view, because there's a throwaway segment on Smackdown with Roman Reigns and Goldberg, which doesn't make any sense. Again, I hated the fact that it was going to be Goldberg and Reigns for the title and Cena and Fiend without the title, but I got over it. I stopped pissing and moaning, and I got on with my life, and I tuned into Smackdown, and they even managed to ruin that, because now there's no point in Elimination Chamber. What's the point in this pay-per-view? What is the point in this pay-per-view? Because nothing's at stake. I might get to see The Undertaker. That'll be cool. They should have really held off that announcement for this show, really, with Goldberg and Reigns. They should have had the men's Elimination Chamber. Could have got loads of people over. Could have done some really sick spots. Could have had Roman Reigns win, and you still get your shitty match with Goldberg. Reigns still leaves Mania with the title, WWE. Still could have got what you wanted. But yeah, don't know what to think, really. Don't know what to say. It is what it is. So I have been Lucas Chappell, the resident horror punk of Spanish Announce Table Wrestling. You can catch us, as always, at 8 p.m. over novaradio.co.uk. That's novaradio.co.uk at 8 p.m. every Wednesday. I'll try not to have a lacerated head. Just shave my head. Done a blade job when I do the show. With obviously my colleagues Wayne, Neil, Chris, Rob and Damien. There's a bunch of us that love to do the show. So every Wednesday 8 p.m. Nova Radio, or if you're living in the northeast of England, that's Nova Radio 102.5 FM. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy Elimination Chamber. I hope I enjoy Elimination Chamber, and I hope we're pleasantly surprised and our intelligence isn't insulted, because I feel the SmackDown side of things really kind of sucks at the minute. Even though we're getting the matches we were always going to get, the build has just been diabolical. So let's hope they can pull it out of the bag. Let's hope they can make us more invested in WrestleMania. It seems like each time I watch WWE, I'm less and less interested and less invested in the following show, especially from the SmackDown side of things. So hopefully they can turn that around, get me more invested, get me more looking forward to WrestleMania, because just like this show, on paper the card is really good and can be a good draw. So let's see what they can do, and let's see where they go with it. But yeah, I think for me, the match I'm most looking forward to has got to be AJ Styles versus Alistair Black, just because it's a dream match for me. If it's the match I know that they can have, then yeah, it could be one of the best matches of all time. If it's the match I think they're going to have, then it's just going to be normal WWE rubbish. Sports entertainment, yay. So I've been Lucas, Spanish Announce Table. Cheers guys, catch you guys later.